All right. Hi, guys. I am Allie. And most parents actually have no idea what level their child is. And that's completely normal because schools rarely explain it. So by the end of this session, you'll know exactly how to find out what level your child's at. So, first of all, why is this level important, right? So, knowing the level of your child just means that you have a roadmap of knowing what you can work on next with your child. And without it, you're just guessing, right? And kids can it's really important because a lot of students either maybe they get placed at a level that's too low, so then they get bored because it's too easy, right? Or maybe they shut down because it's just way too difficult, way above their level. So the right level is where challenge meets confidence. So this is something that I focus on um, really strongly with my students. I like to make sure my kids are placed at the correct level, and that might mean adjusting later on. So I have lots of different things to help place your children. So what parents usually try and why it might not always work, right? So a lot of parents can say, hey, Allie, my child watched an entire movie in English. And that's great. That's awesome. But exposure doesn't always equal production. So their listening skills are great, their comprehension levels are great, but it doesn't mean that their speaking is also great, right? It just might mean that they need to practice a little more, right? Or have more support. Many students need more sentence structure, right? So they need those sentence starters, they need some help in some structure as well. So, another thing that I hear often from parents is, hey, my child got 100% on their English test. That's amazing. I'm really proud of your child. But grades or school scores don't always reflect like the real world communication ability, right? So your child could be perfect on paper, right? And you could have 100% in all of the English classes, but maybe they don't like to speak. Maybe speaking isn't being assessed. So we always have to look at what is being assessed as well. And another thing I hear from parents is, hey, they seem fluent at home. So again, their comprehension might be higher than their ability to actually produce, meaning speak or write. So these are very different skills. So oftentimes, our younger learners or people who are just starting out learning a language, their comprehension levels are quite high, right? They understand. There's cognates that they can compare to their native language. So those words that are the same or they sound the same, either in spelling or sound. So they can pick up the meaning quite well, but maybe they don't know how to express themselves. And this is super normal. And we have to remember that we have receptive and production skills. So those are two very different things. All right. And then the CEFR framework. So the CEFR or CEFR levels. So the A1 level, we have levels A1 to C2. C2 is like a native speaker of that language, usually an adult, right? Where your language is fully developed. And then there's A1. So A1 is like one of the lower levels, right? That means that you can express basic things, colors, shapes, maybe animals, just very basic things. You can talk about the weather, but maybe you can say it's sunny or my favorite color is blue, right? So it's just very basic, the introductions, right? And a lot of students, I would say it depends on my students. They could fall at different levels. I have worked with students from pre A1, so a step below where they're just being introduced to the language. That's about pre A1. I've also worked with students who are at the C1 level, almost fluent in English, right? So there is a wide range of fluency that I work with. And oftentimes, actually, just recently in my group classes, I had an A1 level class, and I actually broke it up. I split it up into pre A1, so I moved half the learners to pre A1 and an A1 class because they needed very different things. Some of my students were just beginning English, and they were learning all of the actions, the sounds, the different words. They're being exposed to that. Whereas my A1 students, they needed more opportunities for speaking, right? So It just depends. I can have, when I have your child as a student, I am always thinking about what's best for your child and their learning journey. So that could mean adjusting their level as we go, right? They could be placed in a pre A1, A1, A2 class, B1 class, right? But depending on how they're doing in the class, if they are falling behind, if they need a little bit more support, we can move them up or down based on what they need and what their goals are as well. But I also do a lot of differentiation in my class. So that could look like challenging the higher level learners in my classes and also providing more support for those students who need more help. Awesome. And when I meet your child for an assessment lesson, so this is really important. I want them to feel excited, happy, etc. So I always first create a really welcoming and calm environment. And then I ask them a few questions. I usually invite my students to share something special with me. So I've had students bring crazy pets like an axolotl, their cat, dogs. I've also had students bring stuffed animals, their favorite toy. I have one little boy who loves soccer, so he brought his Messi Argentina jersey to class, and he was really excited. So it's just an opportunity for students to share something that they love and that ability to talk and communicate about their interest in English. So this is an awesome way to do that. And then we move, after I ask them questions, they share their interests, we move on to our assessment. So assessment sounds like a really scary word. It's just a tool to see, hey, where is your child at? How can I meet their needs? And how can we create a roadmap together? So I listen for vocabulary range, sentence complexity. I also evaluate their confidence and their ability to self correct. I also, the placement tool is really great because it can give my students a level. And then, based on my experience, my education as a teacher, I can go ahead and assess, how did our conversation go and what they're speaking is versus how their grammar is, their accuracy, etc. So it's a combination of both my expertise and the tool. Um, and this is what I do in my 25-minute assessment lesson. I also left out one very important thing. I always have a how are you meme, and there's different animals, and the students have to describe how they're feeling, etc. So it's really cute, and the students love it, and instantly makes them feel like at home and comfortable and excited to use their English. All right, parents, so when you are at home, here are some things to watch for. So now that you have an idea of the CEFR levels, and you can check out my other video, I have another video that goes into the CEFR levels more in depth. But some signs for you guys to watch out for are the A1 level is more like single words, yes, no answers. You'll also see a lot more translation, which I really encourage my students not to do. So that is more A1. A2 is more like short phrases, familiar topics only, right? Practice, rehearsed phrases, etc. B1 is more like the level where they can tell a story, they can use past tense, they make mistakes, but they continue speaking, right? B2 is more focused on accuracy, so they handle those unexpected questions, jokes, abstract ideas. Maybe they throw some idioms in there and they sound more like a native speaker. Yeah, and so if you're still not sure what level your child is after that, no problem. That is what my assessment lesson is for. So the link is in the description, and I would be happy to answer any questions you have about the assessment lesson, your child's level, and the assessment in general. So please let me know if you have any questions, and I'm excited to meet your child in our assessment lesson. Thank you.